population of adults 65 and older is growing at a rapid rate. By 2031, it is predicted that 1 in 4 Canadians will be over the age of 65. There are more older women than men at 56%. 42% of women 65 and older identify as having a disability. Older women with disabilities experience violence at a higher rate than older women without disabilities. For example, the victimization rate for older women with disabilities is 15.3%, and for older women without a disability, it is 13.8%. More older adults with disabilities report physical or sexual abuse by an intimate partner than non-disabled older adults. Older women with disabilities report this the highest at 6.7%. Violence against older women with disabilities takes many forms. Financial abuse, neglect, abuse by caregivers, intimate partner violence, vulnerability to crime, There are many barriers to accessing violence against women shelters for older deaf women and older women with disabilities. For example, they can't leave the institution where the abuse is happening. They may be dependent on their abuser. There is a lack of accessible transportation. Maybe they are unaware or don't think shelters are an option. Shelters can't provide for the medical and health needs that they have. There is a lack of accessibility in shelters. Springtide Resources has produced a resource guide on inclusive practice ideas for violence against women's shelters. This guide shares information on the minimum requirements to make shelters more accessible under the Integrated Accessibility Standards Regulation. Accessibility standards in the Integrated Accessibility Standards Regulation include, for example, Customer Service Standard, Employment Standard, Information and Communication Standard, Design of Public Spaces Standard, and the Transportation Standard. The Integrated Accessibility Standards Regulation applies to shelters. The requirements and deadlines shelters need to follow depend on the type and size of your organization. Ontario has laws to improve accessibility for people with disabilities. These laws and standards are Ontario's action plan to become accessible for people with disabilities. You can learn more about the standards you need to follow and reporting deadlines for complying with accessibility requirements in this resource guide. This resource guide also offers some tips for addressing barriers to shelter services in the following key areas: adapting or proposing new procedural and process practices, person-centered age and disability sensitivity practice, policy and program reforms, outreach, awareness, and promotion, building partnerships in your community.